welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday, the weekly broadcast where I talk to you on a Tuesday. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how a story goes from just that nugget of an idea to the finished product that you see here. If you followed me before, you'll know that I do a little a story sort of Bible for each and every book that I do. This one has 3 different titles in it right now. The first 100 Kisses, the second 100 Kisses, and then there's some blank pages available for the third 100 Kisses if people decide that they like the second 100 Kisses and want more. I'm starting to put the ideas down in the Bible, so to speak. But sort of the first thing that I do when I get an idea for a story is I get out a brand new journal and I start writing down the ideas. I start trying to figure out what is the story going to try to say? What is the theme that I'm going to try to focus on during this book? What is the lesson that the hero or heroine needs to learn by the end of the book? What is that arc that they need to take? I didn't used to write that way. I used to just sit at a keyboard and type and hoped that I figured it out along the way, and that method works, but it just takes a lot longer to get from point A to point B because there's a lot of cleanup that you have to do in subsequent drafts. Because if you sort of fly by the seat of your pants, there is no path that you're taking, and so you're trying to fix a lot of places where you meandered or you went off track and things like that. So sometimes that becomes problematic. And so I've now sort of started trying to have a rough outline of where I think I want the story to go. Not all the beats have been written before I sit down to write, but I'll have certain things down. I'll fill out a character sheet first because I want to know a little bit about who my character is before I even start. And I might hash out the first few beats to kind of go, okay, this is where we're going to start. This is what the catalyst is. These are the certain beats that I know that need to happen. And then I just dive in and I write a first draft of it. I write linearly. So I go from point A to point B. And I learned a while ago to let that first draft be the magic draft, the draft where you make no mistakes. Nothing is wrong. Not even your spelling or grammar are wrong in draft 1, okay? The editor is not allowed in draft 1. That means I can't go back and I can't self-edit and I can't reread that chapter 3 times because it doesn't feel right. No, it's kind of like a nano manuscript where you start and then you finish and you just go. And that's a method that's ended up working out well for me. Some people cannot do that. They can't get out of their own self-editing ways. I didn't think I'd be able to either, but eventually it did work. So now the first draft, that magic draft, is my absolute favorite of all the drafts because that feels like I am letting the muse run the show. She can go wherever she wants to go. And if she goes off the rails, so be it. I can fix it in subsequent drafts. But for now, I'm going to let the muse just tell the story that they want to tell. Then comes the second draft, which, if you know anything about me, is the draft I hate the most, because that's when you look at that magic draft that you thought was so good and so golden, and it turns out to be kind of crap. There are nuggets, of course, that you keep, and the general gist of the story is there, but you fine tune things. You get rid of a lot of the repetitive language that you use or the same cliched stuff that you always use. And really, you want to say that, those sorts of things come in draft 2. So those are much longer. The first draft probably takes me about 3 months to write a first draft of something start to finish. And then a second draft, about 3 or 4 months, because it's a long path. I'll take probably about a week in between drafts just to sort of reset my brain so that I can sort of forget the story, so that when I come back and do the next round of edits, I'm coming at it with a little bit cleaner brain, so I'm not so attached to it. And then after, I usually do 4 or 5 drafts of something before I will either give it to a beta group. If there feels like there's enough time for a beta read, I'll do that. If not, I will hand it off to my editor and have them go over it, and then I will take their edits. And then once they give that back, I then give out ARC copies. Those are advanced copies, advanced reader copies for people that will plan to review the book based on this version that I'm giving them. They are sort of like the test group. These are readers that I trust and have worked with for a while. And if they find typos, because typos are like cockroaches, they survive. It doesn't matter how many times you read over a manuscript, those typos find a way to live. And they are very nice to me, and they will point those out to me if they find any before an upload. I always appreciate it if a reader finds out, because I don't want there to be typos or grammatical things wrong. Sometimes there are things that may be grammatically incorrect, but it's appropriate for the character to say something that way because we don't speak grammatically correct. I know that sometimes annoys people who are really big into grammar, but if it's in dialogue, it's not a rule breaker for me, because people don't speak grammatically perfect, unless it's a character trait, right? So in that case, you would change it. And then after the ARC version goes out, then it's up and it's alive. So the start to finish process, depending on the length of a book, is probably anywhere from 6 months to 7 or 8. Again, depending on all those factors. When is your cover designer ready? When is your editor ready? So sometimes you have to maneuver around those obstacles that are really outside of your writing capacity. And you have to think about, what's your release schedule? Do you have the space to be able to release something right now? Or did you just release something and now is not a good time to release? So you kind of have to look at it in that way as well. And then you take a week off after a release, and you start the cycle with another book. Now, that's not to say that now that the second 100 Kisses is sort of in that, it's ready to go, we're just waiting for release date, that doesn't mean that I am not working on any other project. In fact, I think I've got 5 going right now, in varying phases of doneness. So I'm working on the 4th draft of a manuscript that I'm hoping to publish in November. So I'm working my way through the 4th draft. So at 1 chapter a day, I'm tackling something. I'm working on a first draft of another book that I'm hoping will release next year. I just finished a first draft of something that won't release probably for 2 more years. It's the first draft has been started so that I can continue cycling through. I've got another one that's nearing completion as well. So I stagger them so that there's always sort of forward momentum, that one is always moving closer to release date, so that there can be a consistent amount of releases coming out. So it's not that I'm starting over from scratch once I've released something. So it's a cycle. So perhaps, say, a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I might work on draft 4 of something, and then Thursday, Friday, I might work on draft 2 of something, and then the weekend I'll work on draft 1 of something. So I actually have it mapped out in my planner. I have a paper planner that I rely on what I'm working on and when, and have it all mapped out based on when I'm planning to have things released, so that I know I have enough time to finish the thing that I need to finish before it needs to be finished. So that helps me meet my deadline goals. So that's just a little behind the scenes on how a book kind of comes from the nugget to completion. before you go today, I want to make sure that you know about the 2 paperback giveaway that I've got going on. I've got the second 100 Kisses, which is the proof version. This is the only copy of this version that exists. I'm giving that away to one lucky US reader. And I'm also giving the first 100 Kisses away as well, because they're a set, they go together. And there's a little swag bag of stuff that comes, plus 4 chances to win some smaller swag bags. So you've got 5 chances to win. I will put that in the info above. So if you want to get in to win that, you can. And then I also, in the information, there's a form that you can fill out if you want to have the first chapter of the second 100 Kisses sent directly to your email. I will send you that first chapter, but caution, it is a steamy first chapter. I don't waste any time. I get right in. And so if you want that chapter, fill out the form, and that's all you got to do. And I'll email it to you myself, and you can enjoy. All right, that's it for today's Talk to Me Tuesday. I hope to see you next week. Stay cool, my peeps.